How y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and we're going to do our Bound for Glory review. Now, full disclosure, I didn't get to see a couple of these matches all the way through. I did see bits and pieces of them, so I know who won the match, I know who was in it, I know some of the spots, and I could do a little bit of analysis afterwards. But I'm not going to be able to give you guys an intelligent breakdown of some of these matches. And other matches, I just don't feel like going all the way through them. So, but this ought to be pretty interesting. So let's see what we got up first. First, we got the Bound for Glory Call Your Shot Gauntlet, which was won by Rhino. I do know that for sure, but I did not get to see this match all the way through. One thing I did see a couple of interesting things. One, I did see Tommy Dreamer's tribute to Road Warrior Animal. I thought it was pretty cool. I also saw James Storm, which was awesome. He looked to be in fantastic shape, much better shape than the last time I saw him in NWA. But that's to be expected because he has so much time to work out and but hopefully he's back full time in Impact, and this ought to be great. It's a great fit for him. He's an Impact original. Impact seems to be bringing all their toys home as far as Eric Young and James Storm. Maybe some other guys with Motor City Machine Guns. Maybe some other guys will be coming back too. It ought to be pretty cool. Uh, I did see that this was co-ed because I already knew that Tennille Dashwood was going to be in it, and Alicia Edwards was supposed to be in it. I didn't see her in this match, but I do know that Tennille Dashwood was in it. But Kiera Hogan was also in this match, and man, my God, she is so thick. All right, but so I couldn't tell you whether the match was great or not, but I know that Rhino won the match, which was the right call. Maybe Heath winning would have been a equal to better call, but I like where we are with this story now. Heath has a job in Impact. That's the good thing. That's a thumbs up. So now we have more tension between Heath and Rhino because now is Rhino going to challenge for a singles championship or a tag team championship? Now he has to, is he going to continue putting his career in Heath's hands, or he's going to say, well, I have a chance to be the world champion again. Let's go for that. And I think that ought to be pretty interesting. I like that idea. So I don't know whether this match was good or bad, but the right people won. So can't really get too upset about that. Okay, so the X Division Scramble match is another match I didn't really get to see all the way through. I did see that Rohit Raju won this match, and that's disappointing. That's disappointing as hell. If you want to be honest, that's probably one of the most disappointing things on the show. I mean, I was really looking forward to not having to deal with this guy anymore. I'm not. He's not winning me over. He's not winning me over. I do not like Rohit Raju. But now that he's cleaned out the division and he's beating everybody, I don't know what you do with him. I mean, there's still other people for him to wrestle, I suppose. You could always find new opponents for him, but just looking at two of these people, Trey Miguel and Chris Bay, are so much better than Rohit Raju. It's just sad that we have to continue dealing with that, but it is what it is. Can't cry forever. See, Ken Shamrock's Hall of Fame induction, he was inducted by The Rock. It was real nice, except I know that The Rock recorded that and his presidential address, his presidential cameo. Let's just call it a cameo. He's probably got sent some money by fucking Kamala Harris, and he sent her, and he sent them this vocal message with him wearing this tight ass shirt. He was wearing the exact same clothes in this Hall of Fame induction, so he must have did these things back to back. He just took like 40 minutes and just said, you know what, I'm gonna talk about presidents, and then I'm gonna talk about my friend Ken Shamrock, and then that's it. But it was really nice. Shamrock thanked his family. The Rock said that that Shamrock gave him credibility. Wrestling Shamrock gave him credibility as a tough guy because Shamrock really is a tough guy, and he learned a lot from Ken. He thanked him for we call it the sweat equity. The effort that Shamrock put in to get him over and make him a star, and they had epic matches together. Shamrock and The Rock were really good. Their WrestleMania match, oh my God, what was that WrestleMania? Don't tell me. 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 13? Not 13. 14. Their WrestleMania 14 match was fucking good. It was. I think that was the match. The King of the Ring match was also pretty good. But I think the WrestleMania 14 match was the match where Shamrock won the Intercontinental Championship, and then it was reversed because he wouldn't let the ankle lock go. It was amazing. WrestleMania 13, I think The Rock wrestled the Sultan, who is Rikishi. Weird. But it was a nice ceremony. He did it on the pre-show. I didn't really sit down and watch it all the way through, but I did look at. I was listening, so I remember some of it. So that was pretty cool. So Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock was a decent match. You know, I was surprised at how good it was. I remember I seen an article recently where Ken Shamrock was talking about, I think he might have had the stem cell treatment, the same stem cell treatment that Kurt Angle took in order to get back into shape, and Rey Mysterio, because Ken Shamrock is 56, so, and he still looks decent at 56. I mean, he doesn't look great. He obviously doesn't look like the killer that he used to, but he was decent, and his ground game was still pretty good. His strikes have diminished. His strikes do not look legit anymore, but whatever. Eddie Edwards was okay. Again, Eddie Edwards is jorts at this fucking braid. It's not working. I don't know. I don't know what they I don't know what you do with Eddie Edwards except for just put him in random matches and have him either win or lose. Like, now he's lost to Shamrock and Callahan. It's like, what do you do? But the finish came with Sami Callahan hacking the studio or whatever, turning the lights out while Shamrock was in a Boston Crab. It looked like he was about to submit. And then when the lights came back on, Callahan had a bat and Edwards had a kendo stick, and they looked like they were going to fight each other. And then he chased Callahan off, or he hit him with the stick. I don't remember which. And then Shamrock snuck up behind him, belly to belly suplex, I believe it was. And then he got him in the ankle lock, and Eddie Edwards tapped out. Not exactly how I would have done it. I think that Eddie Edwards should have won this match, basically just because Shamrock gains what by winning? He's already a Hall of Famer, he's already a star. Unless you're going to go deep into, really pushing him into, a top spot, I don't see why Eddie Edwards had to lose. But then again, Eddie Edwards means nothing. He was just a world champion, and now he doesn't mean anything. He doesn't mean anything in this company. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with Eddie Edwards, but something needs to change. Something got to change. Okay, so the 4-way tag team title match was really interesting. I did get to see this one all the way through. So they did a spot where Alex Shelley was taken out at the beginning of the match. The North attacked Alex Shelley and power drived him on top of the ramp, and they carried him out. This was before the bell even rang. So they set this story up where it kind of gave you the idea that Shelley's going to make this big heroic return. That never happened. So they just basically took Alex Shelley out of the match. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know the backstage stuff about this. I don't know if he's sick. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if that's just how the story was written. But there was a lot of changes going on in this show. But they made Sabin pretty much work the match by himself. And again, for the first 5 or 6 minutes, it was just Sabin being tossed around like a pinball, just getting bounced everywhere. He was just basically bouncing between the heel teams, getting knocked around. And that was interesting for a little while. The Good Brothers really didn't do anything. I mean, especially in the early part of the match, they really did nothing. The Good Brothers get paid to do very little. They do very little. They don't really do much of anything. So it was cool because Sabin did get some really cool comebacks. I don't know how I feel about it because he had gotten bounced around so much. It really was weird for him to fire up and then, be able to take out, pretty much everybody by himself, especially the 4 heels. He's essentially taking them out by himself. It was strange. That was strange booking. Even stranger was the spot that they did between Madman Fulton and Ace Austin. I've been really on my really upset about this Ace Austin thing, man. Like the way they've been treating this kid, man, it's so unfair. It's really unfair. So in this match, he's on Madman Fulton's shoulders. I have no idea what they were even about to do. But he ended up on on Fulton's shoulders, and I think it was the North and the Good Brothers were just hitting him back and forth. They was hitting Madman Fulton back and forth. So it's like Austin is up on Fulton's shoulders like the Doomsday Device. And he's just stumbling back and forth between getting punched by one guy and punched by another. And I just looked at that shit and I'm like, this is a perfect microcosm of how they've been treating Ace Austin since all of these peoples came into Impact. They really just been treating them like shit. And I get that, I have to say it again, be honest. I get that Fulton is green. But you got to do something else, man. Like, Ace Austin is, like, again, he's like your next AJ Styles. I'm not saying that he is AJ Styles. I'm saying he could be the franchise player. Why dog him out? Why shit on him? I mean, at least put him somewhere else. But leaving him in this tag team division to get kicked around is bullshit. So the finish came with Ethan Page hitting Carl Anderson in the head with one of the tag team title belts. And the North are the tag team champions again. Strange decision making, considering the North was just the tag team champions. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, who else do you got? It's like, outside of these four teams, what other teams do you have? What other teams do you have? Now, I think here is a good space to talk about the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I don't have a slide for that. So let's just talk about it. The Knockouts Tag Team Championships are going to be reintroduced. I like the idea because they have been used. They do have some teams now. They have Deonna Purrazzo and Kimber Lee. They have Susie and Kylie Ray, assuming Kylie Ray still exists. They have Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. They have Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie, Havoc and Nevaeh. They have some teams. So you have teams, and they actually care about women's wrestling, unlike, WWE cares. They only care about a handful of women. But they actually care about using all the women on the roster. So it should be a good usage of the women. Now, it's not actually going to happen until 2021. So there's no need in getting super excited about it if you're a women's wrestling fan. There's really no sense in getting super excited about it because the championships won't actually exist again until 2021, which is strange. It's strange that you would announce them in October of 2020, but they're not actually going to exist until 2-3 months later. This just seems weird to me. All right, so Moose and EC3 was great. This was from an undisclosed location. Now, I did see prior to the show, I saw that EC3 talked about WWE taking the concept of Raw Underground from him. And I didn't read the article because everybody says that stuff all the time. WWE stole my idea. Sami Callihan also claims that the Hacker was based off of what he's doing in Impact. And people do that shit all the time. Not Tasha Steelz, but Kiera Hogan. She blamed that. She's like, oh, Sasha Banks stole my gimmick because her hair is blue. Kiera Hogan's hair is blue. Sasha Banks came back with blue hair. Oh, no, she's stealing my gimmick. They do that. People do that shit all the time. People do that shit all the time when they say they stole my idea or we did this first. And ultimately, who cares? Ultimately, who cares? But that was actually important here because the EC3 storyline led to a fight club. So EC3 is essentially running this fight club. So EC3 is essentially Tyler Durden in Fight Club. He's trying to remasculinize and get Moose to embrace his inner barbarian. And this was a cinematic match where EC3 is pounding on this guy. I don't know. I didn't see who the guy was. And there's a bunch of goons, EC3's goons outside the ring, and they're pounding on the apron. There's an actual ring. It's like in a warehouse, maybe like an airplane hangar or something. But it was supposed to be a quote-unquote undisclosed location. So Moose shows up, and Moose is calling. He calls EC3 out. EC3 shows up. They get into a fight, and they fight. And it's decently shot. It's not shot like shit. It's shot pretty well. Not as great as the WWE camera work, obviously. Probably not as good as the camera work on AEW either, but it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. I think if people watched it, they would enjoy it. It was a pretty good fist fight. They did some wrestling moves. It was mostly story, but it was good. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this out of most of the things that happened tonight. Well, on the show. There was some flashbacks, some EC3 basically telling Moose that he wasn't shit, and and that type of stuff. And it was supposed to be like Moose was remembering all of these things that EC3 was saying to him as they were fighting. But this was actually as Moose started to actually win the fight, because but it was pretty well put together. Moose dominated at first. He split EC3 open by running his head into the turnbuckle. He wanted to know why EC3 was doing what he was doing, but EC3 wouldn't respond. Then EC3 took advantage. He started throwing Moose all over the place, running his head against the turnbuckle, which was like metal, and it was like a real slugfest. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So Moose begins to win the fight, and he's questioning like, is this what you want? Is this what you want? As he punching EC3, and EC3 can barely fight back, and he's kind of nodding out, and then he finally yells, "Yes, this is what I wanted." And then Moose continues, and then the boys outside the ring are pounding on the floor, only on the ring apron. Moose, 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 and the guys. EC3 put up his hand to stop them from chanting, and he hands the TNA World Heavyweight Championship to Moose, who already had it. Really weird. And he handed it to him, and Moose thanked him, and then hit him with the belt. And the guys went back to chanting Moose, and EC3 laid out in the middle of the ring. And it seems like EC3 will not be doing Impact and Ring of Honor at the same time, but that his Impact days are essentially over for now, and now he's going to do Ring of Honor. Okay, that's cool. Maybe he's going to take this concept to different promotions, and that sounds like fun. That sounds like fun, where he's like has this fight club where he's going to try to awaken the inner beast out of various wrestlers around the world. And Moose was the first, and maybe he's going to go to Ring of Honor and find someone else. Maybe it's probably going to be Shane Taylor. And he's going to awaken his inner beast, where he's going to maybe recruit some guys or something like that. And, he's going to start this fight club. And it sounds fun. That sounds like a really fun thing. I would say it's weird that EC3 lost his first and only, especially thus far, his only match since his TNA return, his Impact return. But it wasn't weird at all. Moose needed to win. And you know what? It's a bit strange that Moose has been in Impact all this time and has never been the champion, because he has been so heavily pushed by the brand and by the promotion. You would think that they would actually put more effort into making him a star, but I'm not saying making him a star. I'm saying making him the top guy, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't go that route. But this was really fun. If you want to see anything from this show, this is it. Go watch this. This was fun. So this is where things get weird, because Kylie Rae did not show, and a lot of people is upset that Kylie Rae versus Deonna Purrazzo did not happen. There were some people who watched the pre-show and said that they were told that Kylie Rae would not be there. I did not watch the pre-show all the way through, like I just said earlier, so I don't know if it was announced that Kylie Rae wasn't going to be there. But they did continue to announce that Kylie Rae was going to fight Deonna Purrazzo. They kept saying it. And there are some people who was mad about the bait and switch. I am not. Wrestling is all about cards subject to change. That's just kind of how it is. In wrestling, you dealing with, people who get sick, people who don't want to show up, people who have other types of problems, or, maybe they knew that she wasn't going to be there. Again, some people say that it was announced that she wasn't going to show. And other people think that she just didn't show up. I don't know what the truth is. I don't, it doesn't matter to me, because it wasn't like a match on my list of must-see matches that I had to see on the card. But it was something I was looking forward to. But the worst thing about this, if we're being honest, is that they showed the video package to lead people to believe that Kylie Rae was still going to show up. And then they played, Deonna Purrazzo came out first. They played Kylie Rae's music as if she was going to come out. She didn't. Now, when she didn't come out, Deonna Purrazzo then made an open challenge to any man or woman. She was willing to defend the Knockouts Championship against a man. ... Anyway, uh, and Su Young answered the call, which was cool because not because I'm a huge fan of Su Young, but because I'm a huge fan of of story, and it makes sense. Deonna Purrazzo leading up to this match really destroyed the hand of Susie. Susie is of course, the innocent version of Su Young, and now the demon version is going to come back for revenge. So it made sense. And if you need an excuse to why Kylie Ray didn't show up, you could just say Su Young took her out. If you need a storyline reason, that Su Young took out Kylie Ray. But they had a decent match, a decent to good match. Deonna Purrazzo did a really good job selling that Su Young was scary, but then she also did a decent job of settling down and not being scared the whole match and being over the top scared. Like in WWE, you have the fear is almost like, remember Kamala, how he was just like so afraid of the Undertaker that it seemed like his matches seemed to change completely, or like it was similar with Yokozuna in some parts, where they would be like so consumed with fear that they didn't have like a normal game plan. But in this situation, it was like Deonna Purrazzo was scared at first, and her fear is what gave Su Young the early advantage. And then over time, Deonna Purrazzo settled in. She started wrestling Su Young just like she would wrestle anybody, working the shoulders, working the arms, and it was pretty good. And I give this, Deonna Purrazzo was really surprising the hell out of me. I really didn't think that much of her. But then again, the only thing I had seen of her was her run in NXT, and I didn't care. I didn't care about it at all because she was so plain and not focused on. But like I said before, I think I said this before. If I didn't, I'll say it here. Not everybody fits everywhere. Maybe Impact was a better fit for Deonna Purrazzo, as they do put more effort on the women who are not Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, or Becky Lynch. As long as WWE only puts interest on 4 or 5 women, it's going to be tough to get over. But you can go somewhere else, and she went to Impact, and her style fits. She's a good champion. Well, she was a good champion because she lost, but it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good match, man. I really enjoyed it. I liked that Deonna Purrazzo used the lethal injection into the Koji clutch. It was pretty cool. I think I had seen Jay Lethal do that before, but it was nice seeing it out of her. It was interesting seeing somebody try to wrestle a demon and win by submission, which is, I don't think you should have demon characters submit. But it was also within the Deonna Purrazzo wheelhouse that she's going to stick to her game. And I really enjoyed that too, because it really like she wasn't really off her game too much. So the finish came from a mandible claw. So it was a mandible claw, which is, I guess, Su Young's finish is a mandible claw. I don't know what it is about superhuman demon characters in the mandible claw, but she used the mandible claw, and Deonna Purrazzo, who had been working the shoulders and arms all match, she reversed it into a Fujiwara armbar, which is pretty cool. And then she does her variation of the Rings of Saturn, which she calls the Venus de Milo, and which is trapping one arm and she reaches back for the other. And as she reaches back for the other arm, Su Young sticks her fingers in her mouth. So it's almost like they're both in each other's submission finish. Deonna lets her go, and Su Young kind of fights back, and it was really interesting. And then it was like some spinning whoop-de-doo. I don't know what they called it. It was something, the something switch or whatever. I don't know what it was called, but it was like some kind of spinning slam that Su Young beat Deonna Purrazzo with. So we have a new Impact's Knockouts champion, and it is Su Young, not Kylie Ray. But that was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool match. I couldn't even in the empty arena, Deonna Purrazzo's matches are pretty good. And this is like the second or third match in a row that I can say that she really killed it. Like, she really killed it with the Jordan Gray stuff, and she killed it here. She's good. I'm gonna stop. Well, I don't think I ever dissed Deonna Purrazzo. I just didn't think she mattered. But now I think she does. And now she's got a long-term contract with Impact, which is really weird, because they announced that she had a long-term contract before this show. And I said prior that if she had not signed a long-term contract, that she was probably going to drop the title. But seeing that she had signed the contract, I thought that she would win. And then I saw Su Yung. I was like, she can't win. Like, you can't beat the undead demon, right? So, but this was a good match. One of the better matches on the show. I really enjoyed that. So the Rich Swann wins the Impact World Championship from Eric Young. Now, this match was pretty good on story. The thing about this is, Eric Young is doing this Psycho Sid impression where, the world belongs to me, but it's like you're 5'8". Look, but hey, Eric Young has found himself a little bit with this character, this world-class maniac character. And he's really hyped up, he's really aggressive, and it's not bad. It's not bad. And I can't hate it, but again, this did not feel like a main event to me. But it was still a good match. So the story going into the match obviously was that Rich Swann's leg was supposedly injured, and Eric Young did very little to go into the leg. Early in the match, Rich Swann was using his agility, a lot of leaps and evades and stuff like that, showing his agility, his legs were giving him the advantage. He did a lot of drop kicks and different kinds of kicks and all that sort of thing to keep Eric Young off his feet and off his game. And then they did a spot outside the ring where I think it was one of those weird back body drops where Rich Swann came running at Eric Young and he back body dropped him, and Rich Swann went to do a handspring off the ring apron, where they bounce off the ropes. I think just about everybody does it, except for they did it in this time where they said, "Oh, Rich Swann jammed his neck on this head spring," and it gave Eric Young an opening. So for the next 5 to 10 minutes, maybe for the rest of the match, Eric Young was targeting the neck of Rich Swann with various moves, and it was a really interesting story, and Eric Young used his voice really well. He was telling just the way he was talking, and in an empty arena, the talking helps, because you can hear everything that they're saying. So it helped that Eric Young was yelling at Rich Swann to stay down, and the world belonged to him, and he doesn't deserve to be in the ring with him, and all that stuff. It was really cool. It was really intimidating. It was because Eric Young has a very gruff voice, and he used it really well in this match. So I enjoyed that. And the finish came with Rich Swann using 2 lethal injections, which is the handspring cutter. And there was a lot of Jay Lethal tributes tonight. A lot of people taking Jay Lethal stuff. He used 2 of those into a Phoenix Splash for the win. And so now Rich Swann has completed his redemption. He is the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, and his wife is the Knockouts Champion. So everyone's happy, So everyone's happy. It's all fun and games, and the match was enjoyable. I'm not really a fan of Rich Swann with this shaved face, and I hate his hair. As a black man with dreadlocks, he needs to do something with that shit. He looks homeless. I don't like it. He needs to look presentable. And I hate his theme music too. I love Eric Young's theme music. I hate Rich Swann's theme music. And I hate Rich Swann's theme music, especially as a main event act. It is very mid-card. It's very mid-card. We're here to party. Come on. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like random generic funk stuff. It's not good. It's not good. But Eric Young worked his way up from the X Division to world champion. Okay. I'm not thrilled about Impact's choices of world champions. They do really weird things at their world title division. Chris Sabin. Okay. Chris Sabin. But sometimes it's a risk, but it makes sense. Rich Swann is a risk. Not because of his history. That's not what I mean. What I mean is he's a guy who's never been in this position before. He doesn't have the general look of a world champion, the general presentation of a world champion. So it's a risk, you know, and Impact has always been a place that didn't mind taking that risk of taking these non-traditional looking champions and non-traditional looking guys rather, and making them world champions. Like, it's easy to justify Kurt Angle or Lashley, even Alberto Del Rio. It's a little harder to justify Chris Sabin. It's a little harder to justify. It was just on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. Austin Aries is another one because these guys are very small, very short, you know. But Impact has always been a place where, you know, Tessa Blanchard was another one. It's hard to justify that, but Impact has been a place where that didn't matter. They were willing to take that chance, and they were willing to take the chance with Rich Swann. So that's cool, you know. If this is going to be like Baby's first world title, maybe so. But Rich Swann was in great shape. You know, I again wasn't a fan of his hair, not a fan of the shaved face. You know, they need to get his look together. He needs to be a little bit more presentable. But other than that, it's cool. You know, it's a nice change and a nice opportunity. And I'm glad to see that this guy is getting an opportunity to show what he can do at the top of the card. So kudos to Rich Swann. So thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Donate if you can. If you got any topics or ideas, send them to MrSlade84 at gmail.com. That is the official email of this channel. So if you have questions or you have an idea of something you want me to look at, please send it there. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so very much. And have a nice